Okay, so a while back I replaced the cam chain tensioner with a hydraulic one. Sorry, not doing camera work here, are we? Not a hard job. That's not the one. This is the left hand side, right hand side. Did the left hand side, took it out. Not a problem. The right hand side one, however, is underneath. So one's on top, one's underneath. However, allowing for the width of that body and the gap between that and the exhaust silencer led to this. Virtually removing the whole exhaust system, finding that these studs, which are famous for shearing, were all seized. It's taken over a week to get all these off, and the gaskets weren't even fitted properly, and they were disgusting. Balls is all I can say. Lots of balls. Not a lot to say after that, is there? Sums up the subject, I think. Hee hee. Good morning, boys, girls, friends, enemies, and those who haven't got a clue. A little bit of frustration this week, or Friday and Saturday. Some of you will remember I did the cam chain tensioner and replaced it with a hydraulic one, because sitting on top of the barrel, they don't hold oil. I think I passed her once already on the way down, and they rattle on start up. And at the time I thought, out of good practice, I would do the spring. The other side, the right hand side, is underneath this spring cam chain tensioner, and it sits with oil in it so it doesn't rattle. But I thought, out of good practice, I should check the spring. The piston is spring operated. Eventually got round to it a couple of weeks ago, just to find the four capped bolts on the studs that hold the exhaust to the cylinder head, call them headers or downpipes or whatever you want to call them, seized solid. Now I knew what torque setting they should have been originally, so it was less than the bolt could, the stud into the head could take. Reverse torque, nothing, they weren't going to move. So over the 2 weeks I applied freeing oil when the engine was cold, when the engine was hot, very regular basis, just keep popping it on, and every so often I just put a bit of tightening torque onto the bolts and a bit of loosening torque to try and very gently urge the rust to free. About Wednesday I managed to get the very first one off, and by Saturday night, with the use of a pencil blowtorch on one of them that just wasn't going to move, got it off. There are so many horror stories of those studs shearing, and in the garden having to strip off the head because laying in the garden trying to drill out a stud. I'm adventurous, but I'm not that adventurous. But this whole job led to just a tad of frustration, in that because it's two into one exhaust pipe, it was easy just to dismantle the whole lot. Silencer off, mid pipes, get the front off, get the studs cleaned up, de-rusted. Now I ordered 4 brand new cat bolts. I'm not going to reuse old rusted ones, I'm not that stupid. And the threads on the studs looked good after a clean up. Oh, of course it's Sunday, isn't it? MILF day. Men in Lycra don't mind if they're riding sensibly, but you get those groups, you know, the ones that are determined to destroy your day. Anyway, where was I? So, got some high temperature anti-seize. There was a slight concern because I normally check torque reduction for using anti-seize. But on this one, the Permatex, for this size bolt, you don't reduce torque. That sort of worries me slightly because I'm used to doing that. Get that over and done with. So anyway, starting to put it back together, you know, finger tight, nut spot. Went in for a cup of tea. I was so relieved, everything had worked out. I'd done my cleaning up, tidying up, new gaskets. The old gaskets should have a marking, a crush marking in them. They were corroded, they were split, they were. So I had to clean mating surfaces both sides up. I was pretty pleased with myself. It was all sitting there ready to just whack together and tighten up. In my usual route, I've been to the shop this morning and I need to go and get some go-go juice, titty or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, made a cup of tea, sat there, chocolate biscuit in hand, cup of tea in other. Looking at my little coffee table where I keep my laptop in front of me. Yeah, it's a scruffy old flat. There it was, in its little Ziploc bag. The new spring, or the cam chain tensioner. I had got so involved with getting the exhaust sorted, I'd forgotten the cam chain bloody tensioner. And you have no idea the amount of expletives that came out of my mouth concerning myself at that very second in time. Hee hee. Oh, I'd have embarrassed dock workers. Anyway, had me cup of tea, coffee. Fortunately, finger tight, didn't take many seconds. Got the old spring out, and wouldn't you know it, go on, guess. It was in exactly the same condition as the brand new one. Hadn't shrunk, as they tend to do. No signs of wear, and I have no way of measuring spring tension in my flat. So obviously, guys, I'd got it, I put the new one in. Within 2 hours it was all back together again and running. But that moment, that very moment of self-frustration, wow. Ironically, I fairly rarely, if ever, get frustrated. I know some of my videos have been a bit moany grumpy, but in general my daughters will tell you I'm very laid back. I'm very laid back, very chilled. far more so than you'd know from these silly videos. All it's a... It's got that looking nice, that car. Ex-German police car. Yeah, but this one moment, probably the first time in quite a few years, I actually had those levels of self-frustration. Anyway, everything, nuts, bolts, clamps, all cleaned up, wire brushed, road head closed. I think we'll go this way then. Nuts, bolts, clamps, all cleaned up, all torqued up, all tightened up. And when I get home from this little joyride, I'll let it cool down, I'll check them again. Heat and cold expansion on exhaust parts, you may tighten the bolt up, but it may work itself loose. It's always worth checking anything from the manifold down to the tailpipe. The second time when the engine's cooled down. You probably know that. Fortunately, when I was a trainee mechanic, I had a very, very good senior mechanic training me, and he taught me many things. And one of those things was, if you're going to do a job, do it properly. If you're going to do it for yourself on your own vehicle, take twice as much care. We break a customer's part, well, you just put a new part on and charge them. You're doing it yourself to save money. That's where I first learned aluminium heads on VWs, Mark 1. Type 1, sorry, Type 1. Those studs would seize, especially where we were at the time. A lot of people used to go near the coast, and it was a very salt air environment. They would rust. He taught me, just let the customer know you're going to keep it a bit longer, because of or even let them have it back after you've applied a particular type of solvent, and let them have it back for a couple of days, whatever. I did close it as well. Patience. Patience in the extreme for rusted nuts and bolts if you don't want to spend a fortune. And because when these studs shear, you might have to weld a nut on the broken bit and try and get them out, or they usually shear at the head point, which is aluminium, and you've got to be fairly precise to drill those buggers out. No way would I attempt it in the garden. And do I fancy stripping down a whole head and taking it up to James's, where we've got vices and pillar drills and whatever. So, patience rocked. Anyway, that's my ramble of the week. It's alright, I'm going that way. Are you okay?
Pain in the arse to start at the moment, and the CO mixture on the ECU seems to be really sensitive. It's misfiring at sort of 1500 up to 3000 RPM. I think the coil's on the way out. But,
sounds, you know, possibly.
Once it's under load, it's brilliant. It flies, but I've got some issues.
As long as you don't need anything. We all have the same problem with older bikes. Very rich.
Sorry?
She's extremely rich.
You think it's rich? Yeah.
You're very.
Rich and idle, isn't it? But I couldn't start it this morning, pulled the plugs and there was bugger all on them.
That was like, almost...
Yeah, you can smell it. Like,
almost pure petrol. Drop your mixture a touch, my boy. did say goodbye, or start to say goodbye. That guy with a beautiful Ducati. My God, was that running rich? I think that was spitting out damn near pure bloody petrol when he revved it. Don't know. I don't know if the video picked it up, but the amount of petrol that come out of the exhaust pipe when he blipped it. I wanted to get involved. I wanted to play with his when you can see something so obvious. He's on about various bits failing and coils and whatever. Nah, you're drowning the poor bugger. Well, maybe that's a Ducati thing, you tell me. Do they normally spit out a gallon of petrol when you rev them? So girl runs a touch lean, whatever I do with her. Valve stems are white. And no, I'm not having the heads off to do valve stems and It's a Sunday, roads full of lycra. Now that I don't actually, I know I had to mumble earlier, I don't actually mind. I mean, it's just those big, careless, rude groups I don't like. All the time in the world for a couple of cyclists riding sensibly. I'm just babbling now, aren't I? Today I'm a chilled, happy bunny. And I'm not going through roadworks. And oddly enough, this right hand cylinder is sounding quieter. Really odd. I'm going to let you go now for real. Bye.